e mangahi anga hala ko tope. Lau ke e wholawhala ko tua ko wikai ai atau wheniuli waki. Pau wikai te ke wawe ke whai tau tia, pau ke whai mesi mo alofa. Mau hanga hake ike e whiaf koe ni a manaki ka mata e mau whataha koe ni. Pau mau ilo eke o wikai ha mau poto, mau malohi. Pau mihe a whiona iki te mau ngoio, mau uiwi me te koe. Whakaulo ho māma mau ata mai pa ke whakalea ki mau tonu. I he ngahi ka weinga, whekau aki, mo e ofa mo tau he a whenau whaik mak mau tonu. Eiki o mau loto kore ka te koe mahaki o tofa ma manlahi he taimini. Ke hanga mua eiki o whakuhi mata e te volo. I hene hū mai ke veu ki moni whakaauha e mau noko. Kai tuke kei tak mua pia a whiona he mea kotoa pe. O ke kei hoko koe mau tamai ka mau nofa ko whanau. Kawange e te mau tolo e whiaf koe ni mo e vahe aku o amanake mau whai. Ka kei mua pe ka mau mui mui ko whanau. Mau kole ngahi mea kotoa he waf peho aloko Sisu Christ ko mau kamo ui. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Akinesi. And Val Richies, who is one of our AWSC councillors, is going to welcome Eleni.
Welcome, Eleni. It'd be lovely if we could have you in person, but I had the privilege of listening to you in person last year when I was at the Tongan AWSC conference that was held in Tonga. And I was really impressed with a number of practical ways you were inspiring people to get involved with a number of different environmental issues. As we saw, there's no plastic, but also involving the young people and basically living your faith out in lots of creative ways. So I just look forward to what you have to offer us this afternoon. And I know that it'll come from really grassroots and practical life experience. So thank you. I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Shall I carry on?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Val, and Keridin, also Nessie, for the connection. I guess the
sorry, I've just muted Eleni, sorry. There we go. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Val, and for the welcoming, and Keridin for the connection through Akanesi, for the opportunity for Tonga to share what we do here that is in line with some of the priorities of the church with regards to climate change. And may I refer back to the theme of the provincial hui that will be in October, Te Whaea Papatua Nuku, the earth is our mother, which is also in Fijian, Natina ni Vanua, and in Tongan, Ko Eko Whae ai Whonua. It somehow comes at a very timely period for us because for some times we have been doing things in our own little bubbles and places, but the closing down of our borders because of COVID-19 somehow have presented us with an unprecedented time where we interact with each other this way, but also very, very dependent on each other for sharing of information and what we do, abiding to one priority, which is under our church objectives to do with climate change, that really guides our work here in Tonga, mainly taking out from the first one being climate resilience is a priority of the Anglican Church, and that we aim to be low carbon emitting churches in the future, looking into pre-positioning of supplies for future disasters and promoting activities and projects that are enhancing these kind of leadership in the churches, especially in our involvement as women in the church. So I'll try and take my talking through the priorities and the guiding principles that started off our work here in Tonga, with some of the research projects that we're implementing, that I had the opportunity to share the last time that some of our members were here in Tonga for the previous hui. Referring back to the theme of the earth is our mother, culturally as a Tongan, there is a 5 definition of the word whonua, which means the land in Tonga. The first reference is to the placenta that really brings out the importance of a mother as a creator in the womb of a new life, is called the whonua. The placenta is referred to as the whonua. And then the land, like in Fiji, the vanua is also called the whonua. The kava that we present to those that we install titles such as nobles and leaders in our communities are offered with responsibilities and is called the whonua. The burial site of in the cemeteries is also called the whonua loto. And the last one is that our waist mat that we wear all the time, the ta'avala, is referred to as the whonua as we walk upon the burial site of our ancestors, which is the land, with great respect. So to have the involvement of the placenta and the symbolic of a mother as one of these 5 representation of the whonua is really linked directly to the theme of the upcoming hui, the earth is our mother, which is really, it really touches our culture, and it's very important to us because it is reflected through the definition of whonua itself. Guiding the idea of whonua and our culture and our activity as Tongans, we extract also the understanding of our responsibilities as women of the church in guiding our young people to make sure that there is a sustainability in what we do now and when we leave the whonua behind to the young people when they become the women of the church one day. And in doing so, we put in place some activities and some projects that started off with Siva. Siva is community integrated vulnerability / resilient assessment. And this was started in our small town where Nessie and I are living in, called Fasi, the part of Nu'alofa, and an Anglican church called All Saints. And what we had envisaged through the implementation of Siva is to foresee or to mobilize our young people to use the information that we get before a cyclone, which is now hitting us more frequently as a result of climate change, at category 4 and category 5, to go around and help vulnerable families, to evacuate them, and at the same time to put up shutters at the widows of the churches' houses, bring out families that are living in poor conditions that most likely will be damaged by the cyclones. And this is something that we did before the Cyclone Gita, category 5 Cyclone Gita in 2018. And it saved quite a lot of lives in our little part of town because there was assessment done through the Siva program that gave us preconditions that we were aware of, identifying vulnerable areas that needed our help. However, when we mobilized the young people, we saw the needs for us women of the church to guide them, to nurture them, to make sure that they're secured in what they're doing and they're confident to do it when we are not there. So this is part and parcels of what we use also under the No Pelestiki campaign, which is stemming out of the Siva program. So both the activities, the Siva program, the No Pelestiki campaign, we try to promote certain roles that that supports the church's priority of trying to become climate resilient. But in doing so, we noticed that we cannot do things in silo here in Tonga, that the communities are so vulnerable. We can't just come around and mobilize the young people and say, hey, look, let's go and pick up the rubbish, the plastic litter out at the foreshore of Nuku'alofa, so that we arrest them from getting into the ocean, which harms our ecosystem and marine lives and oceans where we fish from for food. We can't just do that without acknowledging that there are other needs, basic needs in the community that we also need to address. When we come around to mobilize the young people, it was almost like, why should I go and pick up rubbish when I have to feed my brother's kids who are left with me, and he's going out to work as a seasonal worker, and I have my own as a solo mother, I have my own kids, and I need to, so there is other questions of meeting the basic needs while trying to do the right thing in terms of becoming climate resilience. We're also being attacked severely by a pandemic of drugs here in Tonga that you may have heard of. And it was quite obvious and visible in our community that when we come and pick up rubbish, we saw other evidence of drugs activities in our communities. So to us, we can't just separate the picking up rubbish of plastic rubbish and becoming climate resilient and closing our eyes and ignore that there are other issues that are pressing issues in the community that we also need to address. So through picking up rubbish, we also need to feed the children after that, because some of them come over because of the breakfast. Then in doing so, we get to talk to them. Then we find out that some of them haven't been to school because there's no school fees. So I'm trying to say through the program that we're doing in meeting the priority of the church and becoming climate resilient, we're actually trying more than just to build a community that's is more than just being a climate resilient community. We're trying to build safe and security around our young people. We're trying to change mindset and lifestyle. We're trying to ensure that we are passing on messages that stays with them because of some values that is linked to our culture, and also being a Christian, and particularly being an Anglican member of the Anglican Church. So at the Hui in October, I will present more on what we do in terms of what the No Pelestiki is doing and what the Siva is doing. But the whole concept around it is really to build resilient young people to become leaders. So we push them to become leaders. We teach them to become good advocates. We coach them and train them on how to weave or make replacement bags to take over the plastic bags. We try and get them to, we use them to transit knowledge from the past to the future. We nurture them so that they feel safe in the environment that we build, and they see that there is an essence of staying with the group and the movement. We try and link them spiritually to why we have to be good stewards of God's creation. And we also teach them to manage our little funds that we get, to write reports, to do financial accountability and reports, etc. So that some of them may also get some career out of what we're doing. But I guess with this introduction to what I will be presenting on in October is really to show that the role of being a mother and the land is my mother, and being identified as land is also a placenta that belongs to the mother, is really coming, it hits home when we implement our activities that is trying to build climate resilient communities, noting that we also have a holistic responsibility, being a mother, to ensure safety, to ensure that the young people trust us and the type of leadership that we are handing over, to ensure that when we are gone, they are going to pass on the right message to the next generation. So with this kind of understanding, we bring home to them that the 4 important factors of stewardship to us, that when we are called by God to be stewards, we did not choose to be stewards, and that God owns everything, we own nothing. We have to make sure that we take care of the master's household and businesses and the well-being of his creation the way that he would if he was around, that he entrusted to us everything that we have. We don't have anything, everything was entrusted to us to be responsible enough to increase using what we have, the time and the investment and the talent that we have, and the network like you that we have, to make sure that when we are called back one day to be accountable to what we did with his creation, that we will be able to report that, yes, indeed, I was responsible to increase what you have given me and entrusted to me. And to us as mothers of the church here in our little church, what we are doing is really to hold the hand of a very vulnerable community of young people that are seeing unknown issues coming through drugs and other issues in Tonga, and natural disasters, of course, to ensure that being a mother, being the land, holds a trust that will be instilled in them to continue. And sustainability is really important to us too, and the continuation of this. But we're always trying to link it back to our culture and our identity, as well as linking it to becoming good stewards of his creation in doing whatever we're doing, whether it's through the Siva program or through the No Pelestiki program. But we are also trying to arrest an issue that is really at dire strait here in Tonga at the moment because of all these issues, in trying to recycle the mindset and the lifestyle back into something that can build resilience in them to face a future that we all know there's going to be so damaged, with confidence, noting that they have been given something to follow, a procedure, and with trust given to them by nurtured mothers of the church, so that we ensure continuity of this work fronted by young people in the Anglican Church. I hope you heard me.
Mute myself. Wow, fantastic. Thank you, Eleni. Oh, can you hear me? Wait a minute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. Thank you so much. That was amazing. Wonderful. Thank you. And you kept your time, which is even more impressive. So thank you for that too. Great. Now we've got about 18 people here, which is quite a lot of people to respond. I'm just going to ask everybody, I'm just going to have a look and see if you would like to have a few minutes just talking in groups of 2 or 3, or just talk direct to Eleni. So if you would like to go into small breakout groups, would you like to just put your hand up so I can see, get a bit of an idea? So if you'd like to just talk direct to Eleni, please put your hand up. Okay, sounds like okay, we'll all stay together then. Great, and welcome to the people that joined us after we'd started. It's lovely to have you. So you might like to unmute yourselves, and if anybody's got a comment or a question or a response, if you put your hand up, it's easier for me to see, and then I can just, you know, you can go. So who would like to start?
Do you want to use the hand up on the reaction thing or the hand up physically?
The hand up physically, you see more quickly because it's a bigger movement. Yeah, there's Cassandra. Hello.
Hey, Eleni, thanks so much for your talk. It's I mean, I love how in doing one thing and kind of looking at the issue of plastic, you then end up thinking about the community as a whole and all of the things that might be going on there. Like, what have you found have been the challenges and the joys of nurturing young people to do this work?
What pushed us to do this?
Oh no, what have been the challenges and the joys of working with young people?
Yes, thank you, Cassandra. In 2018, when we launched No Pelestiki Campaign in Tonga, that's when a few of us who have been away from Tonga for about 20 years, coming back to take care of elderly parents and other reasons. And what we saw was a generation of young Tongans very unlike us. It was a bit of a disappointment because we saw drugs being part of this issue of degrading the values of our young people. But we also saw very dependent young people who are always sitting there for handouts. When we grew up, we knew exactly that on Saturdays, our brothers would go to the plantations and we would rake and sweep the compound. We will prepare everything for the hangi on Sundays. Every Sunday we must have the umu. We all must go to church. These are the baselines. Nobody touched that. When we came back after 20 years, they have options. They talk about human rights. They have rights. They have all sorts of rights. They're exposed to democracy. Unfortunately, a lot of these things were not transit in or integrated into the communities in a friendly way that they can capture it in their understanding and relate it to their daily lives so that it makes sense. So what happened is that we saw young people that were reacting in the wrong direction, taking the rights principles, all the wrong direction. And you would have parents working during the week, going to the plantation, trying to talk to the young people to go to church on Sunday, and then almost like they're burning out doing everything, and the young people is just not doing it because they have options. So when we came back, we felt, okay, I think it's still time that a couple of strong leaders like us coming back, let's try and get this mindset of the young people. Because I don't think this is going to be good leadership in the future when we are gone. Yeah, so let's arrest this little cycle, put them back in the right track, and put something in place so that it keeps their time constructively doing something while we coach them holistically. So the joy after 3 years, only after 3 years, the joy and the fulfillment that we watch through our young people, turning around, wanting to do what we are trying to promote and enhance in the community and through our activities, gets us to think it's really our fault. We, as the transitional generation that should have brought with us the lessons of the past, the disciplines of the past, we lack and fail to pass it properly to the young people, to the point that we did a survey in the outer islands of Tonga and also the main island. And we found out two main leading issues in the youth sector was really, one, we don't have time for them. The parents are just so busy. We don't have time for them. So they have time for other things and they talk to other people. And even if we're giving them a space to talk, they don't feel that they have the opportunity to talk. We only give them instructions, whether it's at home or at the churches or at the community meetings or the workplace. It's always a seniority hierarchical thing in Tonga. You are given something to do, you're told to do this and that. So they felt that there is no safe space for them to dialogue, to vent out and to give us solutions to the drug issues that they know more of than us. And the second issue that is leading the youth sector is that there is very little opportunities to further education, opportunities to make to employment and have income. So what happened is that they resort easily to fast money, like drugs, etc. So just having the 3 years, getting them to do the picking up of rubbish through the No Pelestiki Campaign and preparing the shutters through the Siva before cyclones come into Tonga, we get to talk to them and allow them to speak in a safe space. We allow them to tell us what is it that they want, so that we can try an open dialogue to find out more on what is it more that they think, how do they think, what is it that they want, how do they want it, and we facilitate rather than being told. And that's the reward that we get out of this. The challenges is that after 2 years, we still wake up, the mothers, go down to the houses, wake up all of them, pick up the rakes and everything else, load it ourselves in the wheelbarrow and all that, get the kids into the truck, drive them down to the seashore, and then get them to get off and pick up the rubbish, do the coaching, etc., bring them over, give them some breakfast, take them back and offload everything ourselves. This is how it started. And as I said, this is how irresponsible we saw some of our later generations to become. But the good thing is that more and more we see them participating. And there is hope in what we are doing, noting that even if it's just 1 or 2 or 3 of them that are doing more or less what we are doing now, there is hope that there may be some sustainability in the church, young people, through the role of women in the church. Long version, sorry, Cassandra.
That's great, thank you.